Okay, so a couple more problems dealing with loops. First, we're going to use a definite loop and then a nested loop, same kind of thing. Part one, use a definite loop to output the following. It's a set of ampersands or and symbols. And we've got, let's see, how many here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 across. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. So it's 8 columns, 5 rows. So the first problem is just asking to use a single loop to do it. So then in the loop, it's how many rows are printing? 5, and each row contains 8 ampersands. So we'll jump over to Eclipse. I think I'll call this, I don't know, new class. Notice this pause of figuring out the naming. So naming is important, and we want names to sort of be what we think that is. So this is an array, an arrangement or an array of amp. Let's call it amps. Array of amps for ampersands. Oh, let's spell it out. Ampersands. Public static void. Because so an array is an arrangement, or usually a rectangular array, and this is a 5 by 8, 8 by 5. So that's what the array is for, and it's an array of what? Of ampersands. Okay, finish. Commenting. Starting with my name, your name, Computer Science 142. Today's date. So you're probably not doing this at the same time as I am, so your date would be different. And then what does this program do? This program uses a definite loop to print an array of ampersands. And I'll just use the symbol here. Then uses nested loops to do the same thing. I should have gone back here. It says use nested loops to produce the same output, the second part of the problem. Okay. And again, it's probably good for me to have both parts in here. So like we'll do the first part using a loop, and then we'll do the second part. Oftentimes we would just modify that out, but I'll usually just include both here, I think, because it has the it is the iterative process, doing one thing at a time. So because we see that we're going to nest loops, I'm going to just go ahead and use the variable name row. So my loop is going to say for row, and I'm going to start with the first row. So an integer row. Integer row equals 1. Row is less than or equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. 5. So generally, just mathematically, computer science, rows go across. Row 1, row 2, row 3, and columns go up and down. I remember that by rowing, like when you row a boat, your oars are going horizontally, and columns, like when you in architecture, like columns or Greek columns, go up and down. Okay, and then row is going to increase by 1. And then we'll do an open brace, just to have the body of our loop. And in the body of our loop, we are going to print 8 ampersands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Notice, like there's, I can see the color is off, and I have a red there. This is all inside that quote. I didn't let it close its quote off, so I just need to close the quote there. And then I'll run it, and maybe I'll tighten this white space up. Just makes it easier for me to see where my loop is beginning and ending. Main is beginning and ending. My class is beginning and ending. Ooh, that's not what I wanted. So what happened, we printed the ampersands all the way across, meaning I used a print statement instead of a print line statement. And there's my 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 by 5 ampersands. Part 1 is done. For part 2, let's do the same thing. Let's do a print line statement with a \n in it so that we actually print 2 lines. And then we'll start the next. Oh, of course I need my whole system.out. I cheated there. Let me show it to you. It's a shortcut. You can type SYSO and then control space, and it'll fill in the system.out.println. Capital SYSO, control space. It's a way to cheat, or to not cheat, but print it faster. I don't know why I'm doing an empty println statement. Okay, with an empty print in it. I'll say that again in a few minutes. This SYSO control space will automatically set up the print statement for you, the print line statement. Okay. Now we need a loop. So now in the second one, we need to loop through our so we have 5 rows. Oh, okay. 4 rows from 1 to 5. So this is my pseudocode. And then we have, for a column, well, how many columns do we have? From 1 to 8. And now in each column, there's just 1 ampersand. The problem here is that here I have a print statement, which is what I want, because I need to be able to print 8 of those. But then after I print those 8, I need a print line statement. So down here, I need a print line statement outside of that loop. So notice, this is not code that I've just written. It's what we call sort of pseudocode. It's enough logic that it's basically the logic without the syntax. What do I want to do? And also I'm kind of including my variable names here so that I can keep track of what's a row and what's a column. And I actually wanted to do that just so I could kind of see this print line statement happening, or why the need for it is there. Okay, so we start for, now we actually need syntax. So we can't just copy that code because I didn't, there's no integer declaration of rows here. So now notice I used row up here, but this row only lives inside that loop. And so now when I start another loop, I can use row again, and I have to declare it. If I just use row here, it's, oh, actually no, it's not gonna like that. I need to declare it again. Integer row starts at 1. Again, I have the spaces between each thing and the equal sign. Row is less than or equal to 5 again. And row is increasing by 1. Oh, see that space? I can go back and put that in there. Increasing by 1 each time through the loop. Open brace, hit return. Automatically generates my closed brace, which is good. I should be indented. That's how I can tell I'm inside the loop. And now I want integer column. Oops, my picture's gone. No. For integer column, starting at 1, going up to and including 8. Notice I'm starting at 1 on both these instead of 0. It's because of the physical nature of what we're doing. Again, Python and Java both, they start counting at 0. And so if we were just doing sort of an abstract thing or referencing the position of something in a string or in a list, in an array, we would probably be looping from 0 up to less than 8. But because here I'm looking at a row, I don't have row 0. I mean, I could call it row 0, but I think of it as the first row. So that's why I'm using starting at 1 as opposed to 0. Okay, and then we're printing system.out.print, not a print line, and I just want to print a single ampersand. And notice if I just run this double loop, I just get them all the way across, all 40 across. And that's where I need this other print line statement to jump in outside of that loop, but still inside the outer loop. And here I'll use my trick. So I can type SYSO and then control space, and it automatically fills that in for me. Yay. And I just want an empty print line statement. Run it. Boom. There it is. Yay. So maybe this is a good opportunity for us to distinguish between these loops with commenting. So that, you know, the idea behind the commenting is that when someone else comes along, they can figure out why you did this differently. I mean, maybe it's clear from the comments above, but let's go ahead and put a comment in here that says, use a single definite loop for the array. And then before this loop, we'll say use a nested loop. You know, to print the array, I should say, maybe not, instead of just for, to print the array. Same thing up here. You know, for is kind of maybe not the best word, especially because it's a for loop, to print the array. And actually, we're not using a nested loop. Well, we are using a nested loop, but we're going to say use nested loops to print the array. Perfect. Run it again. Double check that it's working. Yay. There's the code. There's the comments. I'll hide them. There's the totality of the code. Notice I have a space in here, a white space. If you have errors, my guess is that coming within the nesting, where are your braces? So that's what you want to be careful of initially. Try to learn how to let Eclipse do the closed brace for you, and that will help. Also, if while you're slow down your typing so that when you hit enter, you should have the proper indentation. So you should be able to see based on where your cursor is whether you're inside a loop or not. Okay, cool.